A review of the movie The U.S. versus Billie Holiday. So I watched this a couple days ago. Let's start off with the cast. I didn't think the cast had the gravitas that I was looking for. It had Andra Day. I've never seen her in anything. She may be very good. She didn't impress me so much in this one. Trevante Rhodes, who is good, but didn't excel so much in this particular movie. It was a quite long movie. It was 2.25 hours, so it was a little long. The soundtrack was great. It had a lot of great songs. And just so you know, it strays a bit from the truth, and I'll get into that, why that is. So let me give you a little background. Growing up, I heard the name Billie Holiday, but she wasn't particularly top of mind. And they certainly didn't play her songs on the radio per se. So I knew of her, but she wasn't a big thing. She was a big thing maybe 10 or 15 years before that. Now, as for her songs, I wrote down a couple of her songs that that were famous at the time. There was All of Me, Ain't Nobody's Business, and of course the most iconic song that she was known for, Strange Fruit. For those of you who don't know, the song Strange Fruit was about lynching, which was a big thing going on in her time in the South, I guess. Just so you know, for a little history, the song came from a poem called Bitter Fruit, written by a Jewish person. I didn't know that, I looked it up. Now, as for her song Strange Fruit, I'll put a link in, but it was a great song. When I listened to it, knowing all that, what a great song. Now, as for Billie Holiday herself, it's not spoiling anything. She was known as a heroin addict, and that kind of tarnished her life and all the good that she did with it. She wasn't the only one. When you think of Ray Charles and the movie Ray, they tackle this issue too. I liked Ray Charles. I really grew up with his songs, so that was interesting to see that he suffered from a heroin addiction too. He didn't until some of the other musicians told him to take it, and he did, and next thing you knew, he was hooked. I grew up where this issue, I first heard about it on the TV show called Good Times with JJ, and one of his girlfriends, they showed her. That was scandalous at the time to think that somebody would talk about that. In the movie, you think a better way for her to fight back against it would have been for her not to follow what the whites had did, saying you can't stay in our hotels and that. I don't know why, but I would like to research why they couldn't have done what Jackie Robinson did and said, okay, if you don't want my business, we'll go elsewhere. Maybe no blacks had any money at the time. I don't know, to be honest. So as for the movie, it wasn't great. I'm interested in anything that has to do with the American government, and I watched the movie The U.S. versus John Lennon, and I thought that was great. So I watched this, and I'm glad I watched it, but I'm not necessarily telling you. The movie has an opening scene with telling something about what the U.S. did to blacks, and that is just like a gut punch. And after that, it's just telling you some different things. So it's not the greatest movie I ever saw, but it was a decent movie, I'll say. Okay? I don't think checking my notes, I don't think there's anything I left out. It's not going to win any awards because it kind of slowed down, and the acting wasn't to me, the best, but it was a decent film. Okay, so I'll leave it there.